Hey friends, it is a new week here at Be Well Studio. It's very cold outside and we're expecting to have a very cold week, but it's a recovery week for me and we are headed into a new training block. I just finished a really challenging training block. I felt really good during it. My coach told me that it was a really challenging block and I nailed it, so that's always a good message to hear from her. And next I'm going to have a check-in with her. We're going to review the upcoming training block and that I'm only 3 weeks out from my first race, which is a training race, meaning I'm not tapering for it, and we're going to use it as part of my training for the Gorge Waterfalls. This is week 3 of my tempo running block, and I'm just finishing my tempo run in the sunshine, wearing spring clothing. My last run, it was 0 degrees outside, so this is weird, but I'm not complaining. During this last training block, the emphasis was on tempo. So tempo is about an 8 out of 10 effort. The intervals, they were 10 to 12 minutes long, and it's really an effort that you can sustain for that entire 10 to 12 minutes at a really even pace. So it's really common for runners to just go out too hard, and then by the end of that 10 minutes, they're not running at that tempo effort anymore. They've probably dropped a little bit. So finding that that pace can be kind of challenging. Being this is not my first time in a tempo block, I felt like I did really good at it. My pace stayed really even. We generally were running these tempo intervals. I say we because Sam did all of them with me, between 7-minute mile and 8-minute mile. All of them were done, I would say 80% of them were done on an incline, and so they're going to be slower, more like that 7:30 to 8-minute mile as we're going up a hill. And now that we're done with that, we are going to move into a steady state block. So next week I'll make a video all about training in the steady state block. I think I'll make a whole video on a full week of training because it's going to look a lot different than it has lately. This past tempo block is also probably the last time that I will get to lift as much as I was, because as we move into this steady state block, we're moving closer to my first 2 races, and the running volume is increasing pretty significantly. So next week, I'm in a recovery week now, but next week I have about 11 hours worth of running to do. I still teach Pilates 2 evenings a week, so I'm getting a lot of core work there. And then my lifting is going from like 5 sets of each exercise to about 3, and then I'll eventually just cut one of those sessions out completely. So I have like 1 week, which is more for maintenance than anything. So yeah, we had a lot of strength training, a lot of tempo work in this last training block. And the long runs were between 3 and 5 hours. Now the long runs are going to hit up to the 5 and 6 hours, including the 50K, which will be a training race that could be a little more than 6 hours. We'll see. I'm kind of excited for it. It looks like one of the easiest 50K courses I've ever run, so I don't have the best estimation for time because it's fairly flat, but the surface could be a little sandy, which could also slow us down a bit. This is my 3rd day in a row of utilizing our awesome at-home training room, which I'm really grateful for as it is 12 degrees outside. So, recovery run. So that's it for now. Next week I'm going to cover a full week of training with me, as it has changed a lot since January. Training volumes going up, steady state workouts, which I think are my favorite between the running intervals and the tempo. Steady state's a little more relaxed and a little more comfortable, but you actually get to push a little harder than you do during an endurance run. So if you have any comments about training that you want me to talk about in my video next week, please leave it in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I appreciate it.